Welcome to This Wasn't the Plan podcast. I'm Kali.
And I'm Brittany.
And we're two best friends who met during breast cancer treatment in our 30s. This rocked our world, but we managed to get through it together. We've laughed, cried, and learned a lot along the way.
This is our real, raw, and honest journey, and we're here to help you feel less alone in yours. Thanks for listening. Now let's get on with the show.
Hello.
Hi!
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I am thankful for a ring light because it looks like it's daytime and it is pitch dark out.
Dang, ring lights are really great. I wish I could
Right.
walk a ring light all the time and just give myself dewy, glowy skin all the time. I'm not filming a reality show here, so I don't think that's gonna be happening. How's your week? Anything new? Anything new been going on?
My week is good. End of year is just always super busy for me work-wise. And so trying to keep going with all of my healing protocols and the things that I have found that really keep me well. It's weird because it sometimes feels I have to balance not giving them up and being I just have to focus on the things I have to do right now because I used to do that. And then the new year would come around after all the holidays and work stuff and I was like, wow, I feel like crap.
Mhm.
And not letting all of the must-dos of cancer wellness be more stress, right? Oh my gosh, I didn't work out 5 times this week or whatever it is. I think I have to balance a little bit of grace with also some hard boundaries of saying, no, I'm going to leave and I'm going to go prioritize my physical well-being right now. And that's okay. So that's kind of it. I started, been in a weird, speaking of working out, just I've been in a weird, I was really bored with the strength training and what I was doing. So I started bar classes and I just started with a personal trainer and I started physical therapy. So I feel like I've been adding a lot of good new stuff in. Started physical therapy for my shoulder. So that's hopefully going to not be too long. But yeah, just feeling a little bit frantic all over the place, but also there's all sorts of good stuff going. What about you? How are you doing?
Awesome. I was just going to ask you, how do you like bar classes? Do you find them extremely challenging? Because I just want to say, I took one time when I lived in LA. I almost fainted. I had to sit down in the back and I never took another one. It was so hard. I was so embarrassed. And then I got anxious because I was literally sitting on the floor with 8 girls who were just and I'm like, I thought this was going to be kind of not that challenging. It was so hard. So just curious how you feel about bar.
Okay, was the bar class you went to heated?
No, it wasn't heated, but in LA, there was always you'd have a yoga class and then they'd make it with goats or they'd do something a little different. And this one was bar, but added some other stuff like cardio or something. I don't know, something. And my friend was working for the person and she's like, come to this class. And I'm like, okay, should be fun. Yeah, no, I just was really, I found it so hard. I'm just curious how you felt about that.
It's hard. I really love it. So I've been going to this hot yoga studio for years. And I used to do a lot of hot yoga and now I've kind of transitioned. Bar feels like a really great, there's really light weights. So usually I'll use 4, 6 pounds, something like that. And then we do little cardio bursts. It's heated to 92 degrees. And it's a lot of isometric stuff, which balances really well because I actually learned this today from a personal trainer that I'm working with. I get really shaky when I lift weights and he's like, it's your nervous system, not feeling safe. So if you as soon as you start shaking, hold where you're at and breathe deeply. And so I think these isometric type things are also helping heal my nervous system. It was new
Interesting.
information for me, but I think bar is a really good balance of it's girl time. It's all a bunch of cuties and it's heated. I sweat. There's loud music. It's a really good way to just get lost in a workout.
I should have known you would have liked it because your constitution is so strong that there's no way the bar class would have taken you down. Like it took me down. Um, well, great.
They're really fun, but not for everybody.
No, yeah, no, not for me.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know, it's been a challenging month, but um I feel like I'm like finalizing my treatment plan and I feel like really good about that. I'm nervous because I feel like, I don't know, it's always like kind of scary when you start anything. Like I was so scared before I started chemo and uh yeah, I just like I'm nervous, scared to leave home, sad to leave home, but I'm ready to like freaking reclaim my body and have some lasting healing. But because of how difficult
Yeah, tell us a little
I
bit, like, how long are you going? Where are you going?
I'm going to Idaho. It's called the Carlfeld Center. And initially, it's going to be like a 3-week intensive treatment plan. And it really is like from morning till night. Like, just, I don't think there's a lot of free time. But I've never really done that. I've done a lot of treatment, but I've always like gone home or like, it wasn't every day. It's like every week. And so like having like all of that like all together, I think is going to be like really powerful. And also I'm going to be like away. So I don't have to take care of like anything but myself, as hard as it is to leave the family.
So good.
And yeah. So yeah, it's just that. But what I was gonna say is because it's been so difficult, I've been having to like get back to like my optimistic, like hopeful self. And it's been like really hard to find that resilience in me this time. And I told you this, and I thought we need to do a podcast about this because I know I'm not the only one out there with cancer that is struggling to like find that hope again when maybe they had a bad scan or maybe they are responding to treatment or like, maybe there's a doctor that told him there's nothing they can do, even though you still believe that there is. Like, it's hard to find that resilience sometimes. And I feel like throughout this time, I'm being reminded of things that have helped me in the past. And it's weird that, like, I can't remember things sometimes, like, things that have helped you. And I feel like we talk about this. It's like you're always having to, like, learn lessons throughout this journey. It's like, I don't know if it's like your body's way of like protecting you and like that hard time you went through a year ago, my body's going to not let you remember it to protect you. But then when it happens again, you're not going to remember how to get out of it again. So that's my long-winded.
Compartmentalizing, disassociating, I don't know.
Yeah, it's update. And maybe I'm totally off base here. But so today we're going to talk about resilience through the lows of a cancer journey. So that's what inspired the episode.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really, really helpful. So
Okay.
anyways, we're talking about resilience.
Yeah. And would you say, okay, so like, I feel like there's some very common things to do to help you overcome the dark times of cancer. And what would you say are like your usual goes tos to have like to get you into a positive mindset?
There is a lot that I would say I try to look at, like, body, mind, spirit, like, care for a little bit of each part, and so, like, even just really practically speaking, sometimes I just have to move my body, and again, going back to bar, like, it's loud, it's happy music, I really am not thinking about anything but me being there, and so I think that some form of exercise can really help me. Um, I think also a lot of times I talk to you, or like a friend, somebody who I know I'm not gonna freak out with whatever. And sometimes that's like my therapist too. That's a really safe space to go because I'm like, this is her job and we've processed through a lot of stuff. One time when I was in therapy, I was in a really dark place. I think I've talked about it before. It was before I started chemo, and I just kind of went to worst case scenario for everything. And she had me do art therapy. So I was painting while we were talking, and like just the physical movement of painting and focusing on that, I started saying things that I didn't even really know that I was thinking. They were just like the subconscious flowing out. It was really interesting. So that's another one. And like music, whether it's worship music or just like sassy, happy music.
Mhm.
And then I think like this one's not like maybe the best coping mechanism, but sometimes I just need a little getaway. And so like a book or a movie or something to like lighten the mood once I've like appropriately dealt with the stuff. So those are a few. And I know we've got some other ones that we both like as well. Like what are a few for you?
I'd say, like, when like, the usual ones are, like, gratitude. I s like, when I'm not, like, really, really low, when I'm just kinda, like, going through, like, normal cancer ebbs, um, I'd say, like, waking up every day and just, like, saying 3 things that I'm grateful for before I leave my bed. So I'll lay in bed and I'll say, "So grateful for A, B, and C." And then, like, throughout the day, I just, like, try to lean into gratitude of like, okay, I'm so grateful that I have this car that gets me here. Or like I'm so grateful I have food on the table. Just your basic things that you kind of don't think about all the time because you have them all the time. And then another one is like affirmations. I remember both you and I when we started at the center we went to, they gave us like these affirmations to read every day. And sometimes you don't really believe them. You may not believe them, but when you say them every day, and I remember I would just like sit on my floor. I took a rose quartz stone and I put it on my heart because you know the energy from like the rose quartz, and I'd sit there and I'd look in the mirror because you gotta look in the mirror because who else are you talking to but yourself? And I would say them, and I'd say them every day, and then it took a little while, but then I started
What?
yeah, and I started to believe them. And it can really elevate your mind and your spirit. It's like way more powerful. Well, we always say the mind is so powerful, right? So like speak into existence, like the things you want. And for a cancer patient, it's healing, you know? Um, then of course there's like prayer, you know, your basic prayer, dear Lord, help me get through this. And then just like being like optimistic. Those are like, I feel like have gotten me through like your normal times, right? But
Yeah.
then
I would
like,
say, yeah, I think within those are probably like put those on top of the ones that I said. Like I think all that we just listed, we both kind of use, but
mhm,
those are like the heavy hitters, I would say. Like that spiritual work is gonna like the other stuff, yes, move your body, do the stuff, but the power of affirmations and gratitude and prayer, it's really, really incredible. And I don't think I knew that you did the like look yourself in the mirror, stone, all of that. Never done anything like that. So I'm gonna try my affirmations looking at myself next time.
yeah, I'd say like at first you're kind of like, you know, it's not, you're not used to doing it. So it doesn't feel like normal. But then like, I don't know, it's like, who else are you going to talk to? You know, but yourself. And you have to look at yourself to talk to yourself. And it kind of like reinforces it, I think, because I used to do it in the bathtub, but I don't have a mirror in there. And so I don't know. I just felt it was like more powerful to do it in front of the mirror. Like, I don't know, there's something kind of just when I would do like the Evox therapy sessions, she would put like different stones on different parts of on like different organs because like, and I can't remember exactly, but I feel like your liver holds like anger, maybe like, I don't know, there's just different things. So different stones help with that. So that's why I don't know, it just felt really peaceful to put the rose quartz like on my heart. And I don't know, I just found it really useful. And then switching gears. So I feel like during the cancer journey, there comes a time when these things aren't good enough and they kind of stop working. And those are like your really dark times when you're like truly like facing death or like looking it in the eye kind of. And because you have like, for me, it was bad scans. That always is what does it for me. It really does me in. And then what do you do like when that happens? Like, how do you get out of it? And that's kind of like what prompted obviously this whole episode, but I think it's like pretty relatable to have an emotional overload, emotional burnout, um whether you're going through a cancer journey or just like a really difficult time in your life, and it's like it just kind of becomes like this like negative cycle and you can't get out of it and you just keep going down, 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 and you're just like, I don't even know how to be optimistic right now. I can only think negative things, or I like don't know how to see hope right now. And it's like, okay, how do we get out of that?
Yeah, and I think, with that, one thing that I would say that, like, worries me, my worrying worries me, and that's the challenge because, like, we can hear "take your thoughts captive," and we can hear just, replace those thoughts with but, like, we can't they just kinda spontaneously come up, whether it's thoughts of death or thoughts of, like, whatever the case is, I internalize it, and I think that's always such a hard place to be because 'cause you're like, "I can't give that energy. I can't talk about that because then I'm giving it, power." And yeah, it's
It's
a
I feel
really,
like,
really hard. And I think that is where
yeah, I think it's like a double-edged sword because I feel the same way. Like it's like, okay, you have to feel your feelings and you have to get the stuff out so you're not holding it in. But then it's like, well, I don't want to say my fears and what I'm thinking because I don't want to give them power, And then you're like, okay, we've been taught that like your nervous system plays a huge role in cancer progression and cancer, whatever. So here I am stressed out, so anxious, and I'm really anxious about being so anxious and being so sad. And it's like, yeah, you're like, how do
yeah.
you just that's why it's like this like really dark spiraling circle, and but sometimes I just feel like you have to let it. I think it's better to let it all out than keep it in. Because when you keep it, I don't know, I just feel like I'm starting to learn that like talking about it, saying it out loud, getting it out, crying it out, however you got to get the dark feelings out is like more of a release and letting go as opposed to like telling somebody that's going some spirit that's gonna, like, be like, "Nope, you said that, now you get that." That's illogical, that does not make sense, but that's, like, where my mind goes sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, along those lines, I would say like having someone who can walk with you through those and not be shaken by some of the dark feelings or ask you a little bit and give you space to process those is really helpful because when I was first diagnosed, my best friend and I went on a trip. We already had it planned, and 4 days before the trip, I got a diagnosis, and, like, she asked me some really hard questions, and I didn't know. I was so new. I was like, she would she's like, "Do you think you're gonna," and this is not something that you just ask anybody, but, like, if it's someone who's going through it and they trust you and they're talking to you about it, I think not being rattled by that and showing that you're like, "I'm cool. I'm here for you, and you're like, you and I have talked a lot about these things, and I'm like, it's not rattling me. It's not shaking me. I believe you're going to heal, but I want to be a place where you can come, like, process those things because then it takes away their power for sure."
Yeah, I feel like you're really good at this. I have another friend who I can truly, like, tell anything to, and, like, having a safe place to having a friend or, if you don't have a friend, a therapist, somebody that you can tell those dark things to or, like, hold space for it because they may be like they can reassure you that, like, "No, that's not true." Like, when you always tell me, "I believe you're gonna heal," like, that's really powerful for me. It's like, I used to be able to do that for myself, but when it's, like, really dark, sometimes I can't get there, and I need, like, my, like, best friends, the ones that, like, have been through it with me, like, to be like, "No, you are going to heal." And not everybody can do that, and I feel like especially with this last month, like, I feel like throughout my journey, I've really set the tone for how I want people to be around me or how I want people to feel around my diagnosis. And I always want them to feel hopeful and not scared, not fearful. I don't want those emotions. And so I've always maintained a very hopeful, optimistic outlook and disposition. And people meet me there. Like everyone around me meets me there. But this last like a month and a half has been really hard and like haven't been able to be like that. And I've sort of seen it bleed into some people around me and I could feel their fear and then it like made me more scared and it was just like, okay, it kind of made me realize not everybody can handle those feelings. And one of my friends, she's a therapist, she's an amazing therapist, but she's happens to be my best friend. So she gives me great advice. And she said, everyone, and I thought this was like a really like astute observation. Everybody around the cancer patient is going to have their own feelings about you, right? They're all going to have their own feelings about it. And it's not for me, the cancer patient, you, the cancer patient, to hold those feelings or feel those feelings, and they need to deal with their feelings like on their own, right? And because I always feel like I have to hold their feelings too, and it's like that doesn't help you. That's not going to help you. It's not going to help me. That's not going to help anybody like heal when you're trying to hold your feelings and other people's. And I thought that was like really good advice because I always worry that me being scared and down or whatever how it's going to affect others. It's like, you can't worry about that too. Like you gotta just like focus on yourself. So I just thought that was like an interesting way to look at it. But, so anyways, what I wanted to talk about was like, okay, so all the stuff we use, all the tools that we use, they're not working. So like, what do we do? And I feel like when you're in like the really, really dark times, for me, I can only speak really for myself because obviously things work differently for you, for others, whatever. We have a lot of similar techniques, but journaling is huge. That's like also like think of it as a friend. Like you're getting it out. You got to get out your feelings. Your journal's not going to be scared of you. It doesn't talk back. It it's like the
Exactly.
perfect place to put all those dark things, like don't let anybody read it, but it's just a really great way to get out the dark times, and it doesn't have to make sense. I used to think that my journal had to like flow and make sense, but then when I realized I could just write and it like doesn't need to make sense, you just get it out, like it was very freeing. Another thing is crying or resting without guilt. And I put that like guilt thing in because it's kind of like what you were saying, like when you're like feeling sad or feeling anxious and then you feel like bad about feeling those things because you feel like it's going to, make it worse or whatever. And it's like you just have to be able to feel the negative things and just like know that they won't be there forever and like they'll pass. Like, do you ever feel, like, guilt about it? Or do you ever hold that guilt when you're like, "Okay, I'm not feeling great emotionally, I just need a rest," or are you pretty good about it?
I don't honestly, when it conflicts with like commitments I've made to people I do. So say like like last week was really just a lot going on and and like old me would have pushed through and like honored the commitments I made. I'm like, nope, I told someone I would be there, blah 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 blah. And new me is like, I need to recover and I need to sit my butt on a couch and like breathe and sleep in. And I didn't really feel guilty. I mean, a little bit because I'm like, oh, I'm letting them down, whatever. But I don't know. How about you? Where are you at in the giving yourself permission?
I always, like, feel like I'm like, "Okay, I don't have energy. I can't work out today. I don't feel great." But I always feel like a little bit more sad than guilty that I'm not, like, spending time with my son because that's where I get, like, upset about it's not really guilty, it's just more of like, I'm mad at the cancer that you're making me sad and making me have no energy, and I have to lay here, and I can't go, like, outside and play with my son because it's like I can't get up, like, I just, like, don't have the energy, you know? Another thing that I forgot that a therapist told me to do last year that, a friend reminded me of that I did was congratulating yourself for all the little tasks you do, because when you are going through a hard time, you're basically, like, depressed, and little things are hard. I don't have the energy to text people back, like, that's the kind of place I was at, but I remember I was walking into my doctor's office, and I was like, congratulations. You drove yourself here. Way to go. Good job. You got yourself here. You are going to sit at a doctor's office, you're gonna get poked. Congratulations, you did it. It's like it sounds so silly when you say it out loud, but you just congratulate yourself over all the little things you do. That is helpful.
Okay, so
Okay.
there's one more thing that I've seen from you that I'd love to hear you talk about, and that is just, like, kind of tuning out noise when you're going through something like this.
Yeah, I noticed, this time it was really hard, um, with our like, with a dear friend passing, and then just, hearing about other people not doing well, and I was taking it all in, and I was, holding on to it, and I just was feeling so, sad for everyone, and I was like, "I don't know how to be there for everyone and myself," and I had to kinda, get off social media, which I mostly did, except posting about our podcast, and, that was basically it, and then, kind of, just putting my phone on, do not disturb and not really, being able to, communicate with the people in our cancer world so much, and it's not that I don't have love for others, it's like I have too much love for others, and it was like, I can't get well, if I don't, like, quiet the noise around me so much, and, it was just, really helpful for me to be and it's not just that, it's, bad news in general, I just, couldn't hold space for anything, anyone, anything negative, sad, whatever, I just was like, "It is going to literally be the end of me," so I had to, you know, um, just I call it, personal retreat, I don't know, and it found that to be really helpful for me. Maybe others out there who find themselves, being more empathetic or just feeling like they want to be there for others too because you have to be there for other people who are going through the same thing. It's like, no, you need to be here for yourself right now, and that is it. Your priority is yourself, and it feels really selfish to say that sometimes, but really it's self-preservation, and you need to those people aren't going to be benefit if you're not here. So you need to just prioritize yourself and your well-being and your mental health, your mental well-being, um, above everything. So I found that to be, really
Yeah,
helpful.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, even practically speaking, I think both of us are very social creatures, and, going to a cancer center, I just knew that I was like, I wanna, learn about everybody's story, pray for people and, make friends and this and that, and, those are all important things. We had an entire episode about that, those
Mhm,
and there will be a time where you have capacity for those again. But,
mhm,
we both have the same big headphones, and I think there's, big headphone days at cancer centers where you're like, "I have to focus on myself. We're all here because we're going through hard. And hopefully, we all have a community of people who are maybe not going through quite a crisis like we are, who can hold us. And I
mhm,
don't have to be the person holding everyone in their crisis."
mhm. Exactly. Yeah. Those headphones have been a game changer. I didn't have them last year or most of this year, so yeah, really timely to get them. Oh, and then this time, I think I told you this. I was waking up every morning and I'd get on YouTube and I'd type in something that made me laugh. And so I'd be like Kristen Wiig SNL skits because she always makes me laugh. And so I'd wake up laughing every morning because I couldn't find joy. It was really hard for me to find joy. But when you know that there's those things that just guaranteed to make you laugh, when you start off your day laughing, it really helps set the tone. And I know as an holistic integrative person, you're not supposed to get up and look at a screen. That's actually not good for you. However, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And that really helped me get out of my depression because I would just sit there and watch Will and Grace scenes that just always make me laugh or whatever it is. And that was, like, super helpful to me.
I mean, that's in our girl Kelly Turner's book, Radical Remission. That was like there's a stage 4 breast cancer survivor, and she did a lot of treatment. Like she did other things alongside this, but she made sure she watched comedy every single day and made herself laugh every single day. I'm like, "Wow, okay." So I that one stood out to me.
Remember that too, and I remember, like, the first diagnosis, I remember being like, "Okay, I need to figure out how to laugh." So I put on, like, Friends, but I was having a hard time with that back then, but yeah, it helped this time. Any kind of bloopers, really anytime I see other people laugh, it's so infectious, it makes me laugh. I, like, love to.
You sent me an SNL skit last night, 2 nights ago, that was it was Kristen Wiig, and what's the other girl's name?
Kate McKinnon.
Yeah, and it was the crazy cat ladies, and I don't know why you would send that to me. That's so unrelated to me, so I'm a little bit offended.
It was so funny, and all the little kittens, I was like, "You're gonna love this." It was making me laugh so hard. Yeah. So,
I felt like I
um,
was watching me and Brennan at home.
well, that's pretty funny. So, waking up, starting the day with laughter really helped me get out of this time. Figure out what brings you joy, do it, plan it, make it a priority. That's like really important. Like, obviously, for me, my biggest joy is my son, and I love watching him have fun. So I'm like, even when I didn't want to go leave the house, I'm like, no, I want to go take him to the park because I know he's going to love it. I didn't walk there, we drove, whatever. I had to get there in the way that I could. And it was great. I wasn't out of my down, whatever. I haven't. What's the opposite? How do you say resilient? What's the noun for that? I wasn't resiled. I'm making that word up. I wasn't resiled. You heard it here first. And, but it helps. Like, you just have to keep
Trademark
doing
it.
it. It really can help you get out of that, like, downward cycle. And, I'm starting to bounce back, and days can be hard, but I feel like trying to remember those tools,
Yeah,
being reminded of those tools helps.
yeah, for sure. I think, like, talking about morning routines and morning stuff, like, one thing that I implemented, I mean, it's probably right around my diagnosis, and I have tried to hang on to, and I, as someone who's been a Christian for 20 years, am embarrassed to say, like, I've never had a really solid morning routine, quiet time. Like, I was a person who got up and got after the day, and I just overloaded my schedule too much. And, like, talking about nervous system health, like, that is one area that can really stretch somebody, and I don't want people who, like, are in a different season than I am to hear this and hear, like, "Oh, another area I'm failing," because I know a lot of, like, young moms who, like, their mornings look a lot different than mine, but I would say, like, doing devotionals, doing journaling, reading, my Bible or reading the healing affirmations or something like that. Something to calm your nervous system to start your day before I let the world in. Like, absolute really, really try to not check any form of social media or email before doing this. If you wanna, like, watch something funny, I think that's a little bit different, but before I'm letting any outside forces in, I, like, check in with my own self.
Hmm.
And I think that's really helpful and can really be a grounding force when you are in a dark place or just anytime.
Yeah, I'd say like devotionals have become like a new staple in my life. I didn't even know what a devotional was before last year, if I'm being totally honest. And I was like given one last year and by my sister-in-law, and I kind of was reading it a little bit, but then um I really got into it this year, and I finished it, and like every day it's so weird. Sometimes I swear you're like the thing that was on that page for that day was so applicable to what I was going through that day. It was just really weird how that aligned sometimes. But devotionals really helpful. Just kind of helps you like, I don't know. I don't know. I just find them like inspiring and like hopeful, and that is a good that is a really good thing practice to do. I don't do it in the morning. I do it in the afternoon because I have a 2-year-old and I
Mm,
devote my time to him in
there
the
you go.
morning. But yeah.
That's great. I love that you still find time. That's so beautiful. What's the devotional that you? Because I remember you've talked to me about it. I think it's, what's the name of it?
It's called You're Going to Make It, and it's called You're Going to Make It, by Lisa TerKeurst, and I think you're like, "Oh, yeah, of course I know who that is." I'm like, "Oh, well." But anyways, I guess, yeah, I think it's a yeah, it's a morning and evening devotional. I would just read them both in the end, and gosh, I just really liked it, and it's like there's a part in it that, like, where you can write, like, release things back into the day, like, things that you don't wanna, like, hold on to. And mine's always, like, fear, because I think with a cancer diagnosis, fear is probably the biggest negative feeling that one of the biggest negative feelings that you hold on to. Do you have any devotionals that you wanna recommend or that you've, like, found really helpful in your journey?
Yeah. So there was one that a friend gave me, and she'd gone through a lot from a husband with chronic illness to multiple pregnancy losses and just a whole fertility journey. And it's called Treasures in the Dark. Yeah, Treasures in the Dark by Catherine Wolfe. Catherine Wolfe had a really life changing stroke at age 26,
Mhm.
and she was like wheelchair bound and had just a lot of physical manifestations of that. And she's like kind of funny but also goes really deep, and so that was a really good one. I think Lisa TerKeurst has another devotional or another book. She's got a couple because she has a really really tough story with her marriage and a husband who went through addiction, so I think she's got a couple really good books. And I'm I don't know. I'm reading Beat Cancer Daily, and I'm actually gonna read something from that in a little bit. It's okay, like, it's really short little things every single day, and some of them are amazing. So, like, I would say some days I'm like, "Okay, that was take it or leave it," but it's another good resource. And I know a lot of people love Jesus Calling. It's, like, probably the number 1 selling devotional of all time, so that's another one that I've read at one point in my life.
I haven't heard that one, but I just learned about devotionals, so not surprising there. Um,
Maybe Jesus is calling you out.
Jesus, please listen to me. Hear me. Are you there? Do you wanna read Beat Cancer Every Day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can read that now. This was in one of the this was the reading a few days ago, and I knew we were gonna be talking about this, so I sent Callie a screenshot, and I thought it'd be really good to read this out loud and, run it back a few times if it's helpful for you. And if you have Beat Cancer Daily, it's on page 218, day 218. So it says, "No one talks to you more than you. Instead of depending on encouragement from others, which may be in short supply, now is the time to be your own head coach and start encouraging yourself. You can apply this to every area of your life. I am smart. I am strong. I am courageous. I am loved. I am worthy of love. I am blessed. I am attractive. I am successful. I'm valuable. I belong here. I can do this. I am healed. I am healthy. I am well." Talk to your body. Talk to your organs. Talk to your cancer cells. Tell them you love them. Tell them to be healed, and tell them to be well. Taking care of your physical body with healthy food and exercise is one way to love yourself. But most important way to love yourself is also choosing to think about yourself and speak to yourself in a loving, kind, and encouraging way. This requires daily practice and may feel strange at first. If you've been in the habit of beating yourself up and even hating yourself, stop doing that. Interrupt those critical, self defeating thoughts with loving encouragement and affirmations above. So that today's encouragement is encourage yourself and talk to your body in a loving way. And there's like a mindfulness practice called loving kindness. And I have taken a couple mindfulness courses, and I don't remember very much from them because I fall asleep every time I try to meditate. But I do remember loving kindness. And I remember being like rocked by that and being like, wow, I need to be nice to myself. So
Yeah, no, that's, like, so timely and so perfect, that excerpt. And it also is kinda like what we were talking about with, like, affirmations in front of the mirror, like, talking to yourself. And, your words are powerful, so thanks for sharing that. I hope somebody else finds it useful and helpful, and yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say other than when times are hard, try not to look too try look into the future and see your life, but don't think about, like, all the things you have to do. Just take it day by day, and that's where I find it helps me get through it and become, resilient and find that resilience. It's like, "Okay, I just got through today. Today is just today. I just need to do things I need to do today," and that's just, one thing at a time, and that I find, really helpful, and yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Do you have anything you wanna add?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say just, like, in recap and thinking back, like, I'm thinking about a person or a couple people in my life who are facing, and we've talked about it before, that dark night of the soul, and I think there's a lot that, you can do on your own, but I think just, like, don't underestimate how important it is to have someone to be a sounding board, and, like, we've talked a lot about it being our therapist. I don't think there's many things there's a few physical things, of course, with the cancer journey that you have to prioritize, but as far as expenses go, like, it's gotta be right up there, because if you are doing all the physical stuff, but you don't have anyone to hash some of these things out with and feel like you can really say it, because if it's like your spouse and it sends them spiraling because, it scares them, or your parents or whatever, like, if you don't have somebody in your life who can be that person who can look you in the eyes and say, "Hey, I still think you're gonna heal. I still believe that, and nothing you're saying makes me think otherwise," then I think just try to find a therapist or somebody. And I know, like, if you live in a small town, like, BetterHelp is online, like, you can find telehealth people, there's all kinds of resources out there now. So, I don't know, I wish I could just hug anyone who's, like, going through this right now. It's a really hard place to be, but it's temporary. After darkness, there's always light. So, there is light coming.
Mhm. Yeah, that's such a good reminder. After night is always day. The sun always rises. It's a new day. Good things are coming. Just keep remembering that. Anybody else who's going through a hard time right now, I totally feel you. It's hard, but um, you will get through it because you have to. And that's what I always say. There's no other option. I will get through it. Well, thank you for being you and always being my sounding board and being there for me.
Back at ya.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. We have a big favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and leave a review. It really helps people find us.
Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Bye.